if we want to live without fear, we have to first learn to live with it.
With fear.
With it.
Yeah.
There's no way around that.
No.
So really consider that.
Yeah.
If we want to live without fear, we first have to learn to live with it.
Yeah.
In other words, if we are doing anything to get rid of our fear because it is so unpleasant, we are, without realizing it, simply perpetuating it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the first thing to understand.
Yeah.
And it takes some courage just to understand that. We've been dancing around our fear all our life, managing it, suppressing it, fulfilling it.
Even using this awareness to go away from it. I think it's I'm tricking myself, because then I think I can go into what I really am. Do you understand what I mean? And then in a way I'm jumping over. Do you understand what I say?
Yes, even the separate self even manages to appropriate the non-dual teaching and uses abiding as awareness as a means of avoiding fear.
Yeah.
That's not truly abiding as awareness. In that case, the separate self is just pretending to be awareness in order to do what it really wants to do, which is get rid of or resist fear. But it's good that you see that. You see the tendency of the separate self to appropriate the non-dual teaching in order to perpetuate the fear that is at its origin. What are you afraid that the fear will do to you?
It's strange in a way, because I have been nothing. I have had experience of being no thing, and it's wonderful.
But very specifically, what are you afraid that the fear will do to you? Why are you so afraid of the fear?
But it must be to udslette mig. Hvad er det? Udslette? And destroy and annihilate me. Yeah. But in a way, it's what I really want. So it's strange, I think. But it's something mental going in here.
What does awareness have to say about the matter? If you ask awareness what it thinks or feels about the fear, does awareness reply,
No,
I'm afraid of being overwhelmed or annihilated by it?
No.
What does awareness say about it?
But awareness just is. There's no problem there.
It doesn't say anything about it.
You say I just have to be there with it.
It's not even that you just have to be there with it. You, awareness, are already there with it. To have to be there with it would be turning this into a subtle practice, and therefore it would be an activity of the mind. I must try to be with my fear, although to be honest, I don't really want to. But I must try even harder to try and be with my fear, to welcome it, because I really want to get rid of it. That's nothing to do with what we're speaking of here.
No.
That would be an activity of the mind. And as we all know, the trying to be with it is just a subtle way of perpetuating it. We try to be with it because what we really want to do is get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's not about trying to do anything. It's nothing to do with an activity of the mind or the cessation of an activity in the mind. Go back to the feeling of fear. Be knowingly the presence of awareness. When I say knowingly, I mean you are that already. You don't have to become that. Just recognize that you are that. As a halfway stage, we could say that awareness allows the fear to be. Actually, that's not even true. Awareness doesn't even know fear. In order to know fear, we have to know resistance. Yes? Fear is resistance. I don't like. Awareness cannot know resistance. How could the empty space of this room say to somebody that walks through the door, I don't like you, I'm afraid of you, you might harm me, you might annihilate me? Empty space can't say that. Empty space doesn't know the meaning of the word resistance or fear. Awareness doesn't know fear. It cannot know fear. We may say, the teaching may say as a concession to the feeling of fear, the teaching may say as an intermediary step, awareness welcomes the fear or allows the fear. That's a legitimate concession to make, but actually it's not quite true. Awareness cannot know fear because it cannot know resistance. The way to discover this for yourself is to turn towards this feeling of fear so fully, so completely, to allow it into you without the slightest trace of resistance. And then to turn round and see what remains of the fear. Can you do that? Can you allow this fear so completely, even the possibility that it might annihilate you? Can you allow that so fully? Or rather, can you see that what you essentially are already allows that so fully, without the slightest resistance to it?
It's like it's very violent in my body.
Okay.
Or
so what? Is that a problem for awareness?
No,
When you say it's violent in your body, that there's some agitation in the body, some intensity of sensation, but I don't mean so what disrespectfully. I mean so what? For whom is that a problem?
For me, personally.
For who? For what are you referring to? What I are you referring to? It's a problem for thought.
Yeah.
One little thought that says, I don't like it, just this 5-second long thought, it's a problem for that thought.
Yeah, it's
and then when that thought disappears, as it does in 2 or 3 seconds, where is the problem?
And it's coming again.
And in between the two thoughts, where is the problem?
It's just empty.
So it's just in this little thought. In the absence of that thought, where is the resistance? Where is the problem in the fear, in the violence in the body, the agitation in the body? Who is saying, I can't bear this, I can't stand this, this is going to overwhelm me? Has awareness ever been overwhelmed in your experience?
No.
Has any feeling ever veiled awareness from you?
Has any feeling failed?
Has any feeling ever veiled or hidden the light of awareness in your experience?
No.
Could any feeling ever hide or obscure awareness? No. So what is it that is going to be overwhelmed or annihilated by fear, by this fear?
But the feeling is, in the mind, it's my thought about it.
Yes.
It can't be anything else. But it's like you talk about it's woven in. It's like it's just sitting.
Yes. So there's the thought of fear with all the stories that are attached to it, and then there's the deeper root of fear, which is a sensation in the body.
Yes.
So, divested of the story that is attached to that sensation, what is the sensation itself? Explore the sensation in the same way that we did in our meditation.
I did with her also this exploring here. I tried to go with it this place where she did in there in her
yes.
and then I did it here where it's sitting, and it also changed.
Can you use the mic, please?
Yeah,
so
it also changed.
Okay, so this fear in the body, it's changing. It's like a sensation that is continually changing. It moves around. It becomes more intense. It becomes less intense. It's like a cloud or a vibration that is always changing its shape. But go deeply into that vibration, and go through a similar exploration that we did earlier this afternoon. How old is that vibration?
It just feels it has always been here.
When you say it has always been here, you're referring to time.
Yes.
No, but that means you're referring to your thoughts.
Yeah, that's right.
Refer to the sensation. How long has this current vibration, this amorphous moving vibration that that thought attaches the label fear, how long has it been present?
Just
how old is it? Just now.
Yeah.
Does it have a history?
No. It can't have it.
If you had to describe this sensation to us, how would you describe it?
Well, now I put it into labels because it's like shaking.
Okay, that's fine. So it's morphing, it's changing.
It's shaking.
It's shaking, but the shaking is itself a vibration.
Yeah,
okay?
it's
just a neutral vibration. Is it painful?
No, not special.
Is it a problem?
It's unpleasant. I think it's unpleasant.
No, okay, so go there. Go to the feeling of unpleasant. Is it really unpleasant? The actual sensation itself, is it unpleasant? Or is unpleasantness added by thought? Remember, you're a newborn baby. You're made of pure sensitivity. You know nothing but the current experience. Is it really unpleasant?
I can feel the thoughts in and...
No, don't. Just leave your thoughts in the background. Just turn the volume down. Leave them running in the background. And refer directly to the sensation.
No, it's just sensations.
It's just sensation. Is it a problem?
No, not if I don't think about it.
If you don't think about it, do you know?
Then I don't know it, that I'm nervous.
No.
If I don't think about it.
Exactly. That's what I was going to ask. If you don't think about it, do you know that this sensation is something called fear?
No, I can't know it.
Is there any inherent fear in the sensation itself?
No, it can't be.
Or is it made out of exactly the same stuff? Go to the sensation at the soles of your feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you call that would you label that sensation fear?
No.
Or is it just a neutral, amorphous, tingling vibration? Now compare these two sensations. The sensation at the soles of your feet, which is just neutral sensation, and the sensation in your chest. What's the difference between them?
It's only that I put labels
No,
on it.
don't refer to your labels.
No.
Refer just to the sensation without the labels. What's the difference between them?
It's a little more intense.
Okay, a little bit more intense. But apart from that, any difference?
No, not from this perspective. No.
Is it as intense as a headache?
No.
Could you live with this feeling in your chest for the rest of your life?
But I haven't really. I know. But it's so unpleasant.
Well,
but it's
but
not like
you've just said that it's not unpleasant if you don't refer to your thoughts. Go back to the sensation. Just the sensation. Could you live with that sensation for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I have to. But I know know it's my mind.
Yeah. But okay, but that's very good. That's very good, because you're seeing how thought or interpretation gets mixed up with the sensation.
Yeah, it is, and I know it is.
Every time you say, I can't live with this, you're actually referring to your thoughts, not to your experience of the body, not to your sensation.
So I have to separate it. Separate the feeling and the thought. And this will in a way be an exercise for me to do. Or
yes, just what you want to do is to just to experience the raw sensation without interpretation, without thoughts, without the labels that thought adds to it. This is fear, this is unpleasant, this has been with me for all my life, this is going to annihilate me, etc., etc. None of those thoughts actually belong to the sensation. If you put those thoughts on one side, you don't even have to get rid of them. Just if you put them on one side, if you don't refer to them, you just refer to the sensation itself. Without referring to thought, you wouldn't even know that this sensation was something called fear.
no.
You don't even know it's something called a body, that it has an age or a gender, or it's just raw, tingling, vibrating sensation, just made out of knowing. There's no resistance in the sensation.
Even in the breath is heavy. I can't really breathe. It's going also into the breath.
Okay, that's perfect. So you see how this feeling of being a separate self, a limited self, as you rightly say, it goes into the body, it goes into the breath. It's a kind of constriction.
Yeah.
And this very deep, loving contemplation of the body that we do effortlessly releases this constriction. It's not the purpose of this contemplation. The purpose of this contemplation is just to see what is true. But the release of this constriction is just a side effect, an inevitable consequence of this loving contemplation of the body. But you're right, the body is wound up, the body and the breath is wound up into a state of tension. On behalf of our belief that what I am is a separate, temporary, limited awareness. When we discover that what we truly are is this ever-present, unlimited awareness, the body gradually unwinds in this awareness. It gradually relaxes and expands into this open, empty awareness.
I can feel it's changing. So it doesn't mean so much if it's there or it's not there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. To begin with, the sensation of fear loses its labels. Gradually, each label, as it is seen to be untrue, is dropped. And then in time there is a relaxation. And then for a while you just feel the raw sensation without the labels. And then in a time, because the sensation is there only to mimic the presence of a separate self. That is its only function. It's just there to mimic the presence of a non-existent self.
It's quite funny, in a way.
Yeah, it is. It's funny. But as the sensation is relieved of all its labels, for a while you just experience the raw sensation, which is neither pleasant nor unpleasant, neither positive nor negative. It's just this vibration of energy. And it gradually loses its tension. It dissipates. It relaxes. It opens up. It melts into the space of awareness. And as I said, as one sensation dissolves, you may find that another layer of feeling begins to bubble up to the surface. Again, you just go through the same exploration. Being very careful not to turn this into a practice that you undertake in order to get rid of unpleasant feelings. It's the opposite. It's just a loving contemplation to discover the truth of our experience. The gradual, eventual dissolution of these feelings is a side effect, an inevitable consequence of this loving contemplation, not its purpose.
I can feel the love. It's also I can feel the love now.
Yes.
And the sadness.
Yes. Yes, that's very good. The sadness is another layer. Another layer that has been kept successfully at bay all this time, hidden in the body, dictating our thoughts, feelings, activities and relationships from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But now that sadness is coming up into the light of awareness. Be very sensitive to the impulse to get rid of that sadness. No, let it come fully up. And explore it in the same way.
I haven't understood awareness in this way as I do now, before.
Yeah. Think of awareness just as pure openness, pure sensitivity, pure allowing. It doesn't have to be made like that. It is already and always like that. That is you. It cannot be destroyed or harmed or hurt by any feeling. It cannot be overwhelmed.
But this is also me. So
it's true that these feelings are ultimately made out of awareness. That is very true.
And it's changing. Yeah. and then the resistance is coming, and it's also so. The resistance, and are coming resistance. But then it what is going on.